Hey there people, it's your favorite WeedleTwineedle bringing you guys some more narrated VGC content playing in Series 10, which is a pretty big because Series 10 has banned Dynamax.
Get that crap out of here!
Now I know it's been a while since I've posted a narrated Wi-Fi video, so if you guys do want to see more of this on my channel, be sure to leave a like on the video, leave some comments, show us some support, it really helps out the channel. So yeah, today's team is featuring Roserade, a very cool Pokemon, and we also have Calyrex Shadow. So we have Roserade, Shadow, Calyrex, and a bunch of legendaries. And the reasoning for using such specific Pokemon is because we are selling out. And you'll never guess who we're sponsored by. Introducing Raid Shadow Legends. That's right, these wonderful folk have once again sponsored my channel. If you haven't heard of Raid at this point, Raid is a free-to-play turn-based strategy game where you can summon and build your own champions, available both on mobile and PC devices as well. What makes Raid really enjoyable for me is the near infinite amount of potential you have when it comes to champion builds, because each champion has unique skill trees, and with millions of different artifacts available to collect, every champion will be unique. One of my favorite champions I have thus far is Bara, who has massive AoE damage and stuns, which makes him great for quickly controlling and clearing fights. I also really love Xerneas as he's a very tanky unit and hard to take down, but since his damage scales off his defensive stance, he also deals a ton of damage back, especially with his HP burn debuff, which makes him easy and effective to just slap onto your team. Raid's just released a ton of amazing new clan features and improvements like new quests and a brand new clan shop that gives you access to some incredibly powerful items to improve your champions, and if you do need some easy to get legendary champions, head to the Doom Tower as there's new champions you can collect from the fragments you find in the Doom Tower. So what are you waiting for? If you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen, and you will receive 200,000 silver, 1 EXP boost, 1 energy refill, 1 ancient shard, and last but not least, you'll get the epic hero, Chonoru, who is amazing in the Doom Tower. These rewards are only available for the next 30 days, so be sure to get on that as soon as possible. That pretty much sums it up. Thank you Raid so much for sponsoring this video. Good luck guys, and I'll see you there. So to show my gratitude towards Raid, I decided to make a Raid Shadow Legends theme team because, you know, Roserade, Calyrex Shadow, and then a bunch of legends, get it? And no, they did not pay me more to do this, but maybe they'll, you know, pay me a little more in the future for going the extra mile.
I need to give you a raise.
Okay, and listen, I understand some of y'all's frustration, but yeah, bitch has to eat, and Raid has like helped me stay afloat during the pandemic, and I thought this would just be a fun idea, and it's an excuse to use Calyrex Shadow. Now I know you tryhard fetishists are like, finally, I get to see Weedle use Calyrex Shadow and a bunch of legendaries, while you Karens are in the comments like, strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon, but I'm gonna make y'all Karens eat your words, okay? I'm going to prove to you that you can actually use legendaries and be innovative and creative.
This is the place for legends.
Shocker. Be open-minded. Anyway, getting off that topic, my first opponent today, Redditor, has a very cool team. They actually have Cherrim, and I can respect a Cherrim user. Cherrim is a very fun Pokemon to use. You get Flower Gift, which gives Groudon increased attack and special defense, which are stats Groudon appreciates very, very much. We don't really fare well against Groudon, so gonna be a difficult matchup to deal with here, but without further ado, let's get into this battle against Redditor. So we are challenged by Redditor, who has a very interesting trainer card, and they have 333 as their trainer card number, which is conveniently half of my trainer card number, so a very odd coinky-dink. And we're actually in the Ice Stadium, which is very cool. I actually can't access the stadium because I have Pokemon Sword, and I'm pretty sure the Ice Stadium is a Shield exclusive, so pretty cool that we get to see this even though I have Pokemon Sword. So my opponent's gonna lead off with Groudon Cherrim, not too surprising because, you know, that's their gimmick of the team, and Groudon's gonna set up the drought, which will allow Cherrim to transform into the lovely Cherrim. So I'm thinking this is really bad for me because Surging Strikes is gonna do reduced damage. However, we have the Rain Dance tech on my Thundurus, and thanks to Rain Dance, my opponent's poor Cherrim is going to be shut down immediately. Frame 1, Flower Gift is just going to return back to normal Cherrim, and my opponent's going to try to go for Solar Blade, but because of the Rain Dance, it is now a 2-turn attack, and I'm going to just go for Surging Strikes into the Groudon. I'm surprised they outsped it because my Urshifu was actually very slow, very defensive set. I still have Picolytics, but maybe this Groudon is defensive as well. Surging Strikes does less than half even with Rain, but of course 3 Surging Strikes from the fair and balanced Bear Dad Urshifu will knock out the fair fair and balanced Groudon. So down goes Groudon, my opponent's restricted legendary knocked out turn 1, which is pretty huge for me. It's pretty much taking out their king or queen in chess, and now they don't have as many tools to use to win the game now. I'm just going to go for a Detect here, play very safe with my Urshifu, as my opponent's going to allow me to go for Eerie Impulse into the Zapdos. Not that they could have stopped me, but I go for Eerie Impulse into the Zapdos, reduce the special attack, and my opponent decides to go for Thunderbolt into my Urshifu as we're able to guard ourselves thanks to Detect, and Solar Blade's going to also get blocked by Detect as well, because I'm playing very defensively. I'm ahead and no reason not to play defensively. And now I'm going to switch out my Thundurus. I'm deciding to go full offense this turn, so I'm going to hard switch into my Tapu Lele to set up the Psychic Terrain, also because I just want to go for my strategy, because I don't know, I just want to, and I assume since I'm so far ahead, I can just, you know, get away with this play. The Zapdos is at -2 special attack. I should be able to safely switch into my Tapu Lele, and I decide to switch out on my Urshifu and hard switch into my Calyrex Shadow Rider. So we double switch into our Psychic types, and as one,
We are as one.
going to activate, and Nurse going to activate, and we also have Grim Neigh, and my opponent's going to go for a Helping Hand here, so I kind of got a little afraid because I'm like, didn't I just Eerie Impulse you? Why are you Helping Handing? But they go for a Helping Hand, boosted Thunderbolt, and thankfully it doesn't do that much damage. If they crit me, that would have been very upsetting, but thankfully they don't crit me, and I'm able to go for a filling my Choice Scarf into my Calyrex, and you already know we're going to activate our Weakness Policy, and now Calyrex Shadow with base 165 special attack plus 2 special attack, going to go for Expanding Force and Psychic Terrain. Zapdos is going to go for Detect and block it, but, you know, the Expanding Force is going to annihilate the Sport Cherrim, but because they're Focus Sash, they're able to survive, and they decided to go for a Pollen Puff into my Calyrex, which won't do anything, because I assume they have no investment, so that's unfortunate for them. And now they go for Protect with the Cherrim for some odd reason, and I'm just going to go for Astral Barrage, just in case they wanted to pivot into Incineroar. If they had it, I would just want to play it safe, go for Astral Barrage, and, you know, hit the Incineroar on the switch in. But Astral Barrage, even though like it's not as strong as Expanding Force, it'll still knock out Zapdos at +2 just because. Calyrex Shadow Rider is fair and balanced. And now we're going to get a Grim Neigh, a special attack boost because they decided to give this thing a special attacking beast boost. And now we go for a Romantic Mist because our Tapu Lele is actually support. It's a support Tapu Lele, which you'll never ever see again because Tapu Lele is mostly used for, you know, Psychic type spam damage, but that's my Calyrex's job. Tapu Lele's job is to be a support horror for the team, and my opponent ends up being Scarf Entei right here and Sacred Fires and annihilates my Calyrex. So I'm like, oh, I didn't see that one coming, that's for sure. It kind of caught me off guard.
Saying you saw it coming, you're lying.
Here they're going to go for Pollen Puff into the Entei, assuming I'd probably attack into it, but like, you know, I decided to go for Romantic Mist again because I figure the game's over, I could just knock them out with Calyrex, but they were Scarf Entei, so I'm like, well, that's annoying, but whatever. I still have my Urshifu Water. All they have left is Entei and Cherrim, so this game is still in the bag for me. It was just unfortunate I couldn't get the delicious Calyrex Brain Dead sweep, but I guess I got what I deserved for using Calyrex Shadow Rider, and here my opponent's going to go for a Sacred Fire into my Urshifu. Unfortunately, they're going to get the burn, which kind of stinks for me. However, I have Aromatherapy as well, and I went for the Aromatherapy just in case they got a Sacred Fire burn into my Urshifu Water, which ends up being the case. I really thought they would just go for a Sacred Fire into Tapu Lele just to get one more kill, but instead, you know, I get the burn prediction right, and I go for Surging Strikes into the Entei, and because I'm no longer burned, that will knock out the Entei in, you know, 2 hits. Maybe it wouldn't have knocked out with the burn, but I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the battle, even if I didn't get the Aromatherapy. And here my opponent gets so shook by my Aromatherapy play, they like rage quit for some reason. Maybe it was because they lost to the weirdest Tapu Lele that they've seen in their entire life, and they were like, okay, that's enough Pokemon for the day. So thank you, Redditor, for giving me that rage quit that I can put in the title for clickbait. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that nice little rage quit, and let's move on to the next battle. My next opponent today has a very scary Xerneas team with the Furry Firewater Grass Core and Incineroar, Urshifu, and Rillaboom. And my Xerneas matchup isn't the greatest. I do have like a Registeel, but I don't know, Registeel isn't the best Pokemon. So that's our matchup for this battle, and let's just hop right into it. Okay, so we're challenged by DW7, who has 7 trainer cards, so they like the number 7, and they were actually like rank 600, and I know that's not too highly rated to most people's standards, but for my standards, that's pretty highly rated. So that shows they are a very skillful player, and I should be a little worried about that, because Xerneas takes a lot of skill to use, and if you use Xerneas, you're just like a really skillful player. So my opponent's gonna lead off with the Incineroar Xerneas lead, that you can't really go wrong with this lead. It gives you so many options, and I lead off on my Registeel and my Roserade, hoping to deter the Xerneas from setting up Geomancy. which ends up working. They switch out Xerneas turn 1 and bring in their Stakataka to switch into a Sludge Bomb, which is good to play on their part. I actually switch out my Registeel as well. I'm not trying to take a Flare Blitz into it turn 1. I also want to set up the Psychic Terrain to block a potential Fake Out from Incineroar, because if they Fake Out Roserade, not only do they break my Sash, they also make it so my Roserade can't attack this turn, and I could have potentially Sludge Bombed into Xerneas or put it to sleep. So I bring in my Tapu Lele. They go for Sleep Powder, but they have Safety Goggles on Stakataka, and they decide to go for Flare Blitz as opposed to Fake Out into my Roserade, bringing me down to my Focus Sash. So that was a very good turn 1 for my opponent, and I'm not in a very good spot. My opponent still has Xerneas at full HP, and my Xerneas check is at 1 HP. So not looking too great for me right now. So I decided to switch out my Tapu Lele immediately after bringing it out, just so I can bring in my Registeel safely, and I activate my Psychic Seed here to give me increased special defense, which will help me check the Xerneas. And my opponent's going to decide to switch out of the Incineroar for some reason, even though it was in a pretty good position, but they decided to bring in the Amoonguss to absorb the Sleep Powder. So my opponent is kind of like finessing me, like they're destroying me, and I'm kind of embarrassed right now. I'm like, wow. I'm getting obliterated, and so I need to start playing better, otherwise I'm just going to lose immediately. So I go for Grass Knot into the Stakataka, which does a lot of damage, and I go for Body Press as well, and the Stakataka, which will knock it out. So at the very least, we're able to knock out the Stakataka, which is good for my like Psychic types, and because I could carry Wide Guard for Astral Barrage, so that's good for us. But my opponent is unfortunately going to put my Registeel to sleep with the Spore, so I'm like very upset about that, because this is like my only check remaining to the Xerneas, and now they're gonna bring it out. So they pretty much get a free Geomancy off here, and there's not much I can really do about that. Like I can go for Sludge Bomb into the Xerneas to do some chip damage, but otherwise I really can't do much. So I decided to switch out on my Roserade and bring back out my Tapu Lele, because I just wanted to bring out my Tapu Lele to start going for Aromatic Mists into my Registeel, believe it or not. But my opponent decides to go for Protect with the Xerneas. I don't really know why, but I do find out they wanted to guard themselves from the Sludge Bomb as they go for Pollen Puff into my Roserade slot to knock me out, so they didn't want to risk anything from the Roserade, which is totally fair. I kind of understand where they're coming from. And now they're going to switch out of the Amoonguss and into the Incineroar, probably expecting a Psychic type attack into the Amoonguss, which is totally a fair play. However, since my Tapu Lele is supportive... Did my mic pick up my little brother like having a monkey moment? Holy hell! So I go for Moonblast into Xerneas, and with the Fairy Aura boost in Moonblast, this does over half, and my opponent's gonna go for Geo. Unfortunately for them, I do get a special attack drop, which will mean the Xerneas has a little bit less offensive pressure, but, you know, it's still a +1 Xerneas. I still have to, you know, be a little bit worried, because it is set up, it's gonna outspeed everything on my team, including Calyrex, so I'm not in the best spot right now, unfortunately. But thankfully, Registeel actually decides to wake up first turn, and we actually carry Steel Roller. Y'all have been requesting me to use Steel Roller in my videos for so long, so yes, Registeel carries Steel Roller. I know it's very uncommon for Registeel to actually carry Steel type attacks, but believe it or not, you can run Steel type attacks on Registeel. Like, wow. And my opponent did not see that coming at all. They were so shook that they decided to just, like, forfeit here. So I don't think the battle was over at that point. They still had a full health Incineroar versus, like, a bunch of Pokemon weak to Incineroar, so they probably could have won that game, but I guess they just gave up because the Xerneas died. So that was the end of that battle. We're able to defeat the Xerneas player. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that battle, and let's move on to the next battle. My next opponent, Bore has a very standard team. They have the Furry Firewater Grass Core, and then they have a Regieleki Zacian for, you know, the speed control plus the restricted broken Pokemon, and then they have Latias. I haven't seen Latias yet in Series 10, so I'm looking forward to see what it has to offer. But without further ado, let's just get into the battle. I'm actually really happy because we're finally in Balinlia Stadium, and I've been trying to get the stadium like the whole video, and I finally got like my trainer card on the left, and because the background is Balinlia City, we get the nice fairy type stadium, which is iconic. I love it. So my opponent's lead off with Regieleki and Latias, which wasn't what I was expecting, as I lead off with my Roserade and Registeel yet again. So Roserade kind of did nothing the last battle, so I wanted to get like a redemption arc, but because I wanted to actually do something, I hard switch out turn 1 because I don't want its Sash to be broken by like Electroweb or like a Psychic from Latias. So I bring in my Tapu Lele here, set up the Psychic Terrain, also so my Registeel can just get a nice special defense boost from the Psychic Terrain. So we're going to activate our Psychic Seed, and now we should take nothing from this Regieleki and Latias combo. So my opponent's going to go for a Volt Switch into my Tapu Lele, which does half health, and considering I'm like I have a lot of HP investment, I'm thinking that's Specs, but maybe it's just magnet damage and Regieleki's fair and balanced, I don't know. But we're going to bring in my Daddy Incineroar, Intimidate Tapu Lele, but thanks to Clear Body on Registeel, we're immune to the Intimidate. My opponent's gonna go for a Mystical Fire into my Registeel, which unfortunately crits me. It still does less than half, but that crit really sucks, as with the Psychic Seed I would have taken like 10% max from that. Like, Registeel would have eaten that up, but because of that crit, I'm at much lower health than I'd like to be, and I go for a Curse here just to increase my defense, but now that Incineroar is on the field, they can just Flare Blitz me right in the face. But I'm going to go for a Scarf Moonblast into the Incineroar. I am Scarf Tapu Lele, as you saw in the earlier battles, and my opponent's going to go for Ice Beam into Tapu Lele, and we're able to live it very nicely because it's unstab. And Flare Blitz is going to hit my Registeel yet again, but thanks to the Curse, we're able to survive. And after the Flare Blitz recoil, Incineroar is left at just over half health, but pretty low enough so where the Body Press into Daddy Incineroar will knock him out. So down goes our Daddy to a Body Press. I wish Incineroar learned Body Press. Imagine Incineroar Body Pressing you.
Calm down, son. It's just a drawing.
But my opponent's going to bring in the Regieleki again, and I don't want Tapu Lele to die just yet because I do want to potentially go for the Fling Weakness Policy combination later on in the battle. So I bring out my Roserade here, expecting another Volt Switch into my Tapu Lele slot, but they just go for Electro Rub for some reason, even though that would not have knocked out my Tapu Lele. That would not have knocked me out, so that was like a very interesting play on my opponent's part, but like whatever. And now they go for Mystical Fire into my Registeel, and that will knock me out, which is very unfortunate because had I survived, I would have gone for a very cool move, but unfortunately I don't get to show it off in this battle, which is very upsetting. But now I'm going to bring in Calyrex Shadow Rider, and I know Regieleki is faster than me, so this is probably a bad play, but I do have a plan. So I'm going to protect my Calyrex because obviously I need to protect myself from the very fast Regieleki, as Regieleki is going to go for Electro Rub yet again, but because Protect, we're able to guard ourselves, and my opponent's going to go for the Electro Rub into my Roserade. My stash is already broken, but they're going to reduce my speed even more, and the Latias is going to go for a Mystical Fire into my Calyrex as well. I was confident I could take an Ice Beam just because Roserade has good special defense, and now Cotton Spore is going to reduce both of their speed by -2. Cotton Spore is a very underutilized move in my opinion, and it's crazy speed control. It's basically String Shot, but it's perfectly accurate. I think it's perfectly accurate. I'm pretty sure it is. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's perfectly accurate. And now my opponent's forced to switch out of the Regieleki because it doesn't outspeed Calyrex anymore, so they're going to bring in their Zacian directly in on Calyrex, which is very, very risky, might I add. And I'm going to switch out my Roserade here. Pretty risky play, but I figure that I just wanted to conserve it. I don't know, I didn't want it to die to an Ice Beam, so I go for Astral Barrage here, and switching into Astral Barrage was so risky, but it doesn't do anything to Zacian or Latias because of the, Latias must carry Assault Vest because that should have killed for sure, and Zacian is just very bulky. So they're going to go for Mystical Fire, lower my special attack, which kind of sucks, because now I'm going to be doing like no damage at all, and the Psychic Terrain is going to go away, but that doesn't even matter, because I can go for the Fling, Choice Scarf Fling, because it allows us to outspeed the Calyrex and activate the Weakness Policy of forward attacks. That's the only reason why we have Scarf Fling, otherwise like it'd be kind of pointless. And now we're gonna go for the Astral Barrage at +1 special attack because of the Mystical Fire, but at +1 it's gonna be enough to knock out both Latias and the Zacian, and they could have probably protected Zacian there and just, you know, let me kill the Latias with the Astral Barrage, but thankfully because their Latias was Assault Vest, the Astral Barrage didn't knock it out the last turn, so they couldn't even get Regieleki into Electro Rub there, so the fact that they were Assault Vest Latias actually hurt them more than helped, so I figured I'd mention that. It was pretty funny how their own like Assault Vest Latias like backfired. I'm assuming it's Assault Vest, I don't know how else it would live in Astral Barrage from the fair and balanced Calyrex, even though it's neutral. Like Calyrex Shadow Rider is so broken enough to live a Thunderbolt from Regieleki, and now I go for a Pollen Puff, which is my last move, and we're going to just knock out Regieleki. So down goes Regieleki to the Pollen Puff, and we're able to defeat our opponent thanks to Calyrex Shadow Rider late game. So we're able to weaken Ensign with Registeel, and then, you know, Calyrex just cleaned up. So that was a pretty well played game on my part, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that battle, and let's move on to the last battle of this video. My final opponent today, Clay462, has a Kyogre team, but it's actually a pretty unique Kyogre team because most Kyogre teams carry like Tailwind Tornadus to abuse, you know, water spouts and stuff, but this opponent is taking like a Trick Room approach to Kyogre, which is very cool to see. I respect it, despite, you know, I actually like Kyogre as a Pokemon. It's one of my favorite legendaries. It's just so broken, so I don't tend to use it very often, but it actually is one of my favorite legendaries of all time. It was the first legendary I caught as a kid. Kyogre has a special place in my heart. Yeah, that's my opponent's team, and let's just get into the final battle. Okay, y'all, I saved the best battle for last. Like I normally do, I gotta reward y'all who watched till the end. We're battling Clay 462 with the 462 training card number, so I do wonder what the 462 means to Mr. Clay right here. What do you guys think the 462 means? Let me know in the comments. So they're gonna be off with Incineroar and Porygon 2, sort of indicating they want to go for a Trick Room because like their team is very slow and they have like a Mimikyu and stuff, so the Trick Room mode was kind of obvious. So we're gonna set the Psychic Terrain, and of course it's going to increase our special defense on Registeel thanks to the Psychic Seed. So our Registeel is pretty bulky right now, and the only Pokemon that could really hurt the Registeel on their team is Incineroar. And otherwise, like, Kyogre can do some damage, but after a few Aromatic Mists and the Psychic Seed, Kyogre shouldn't be too big of an issue, and this Registeel can get to a pretty unkillable status, which is pretty nice. So I'm gonna go for the Aromatic Mist here. We are Scarf Aromatic Mist, which is like obviously like not the best set, but like you saw before, we are Scarf Fling on Tapu Lele, and then we just have utility moves. Like a support Tapu Lele, it's just so funny to me. And Flare Blitz is going to do just about half the Registeel, so we're able to tank it reasonably well. Unfortunately, us being at half HP isn't too great because we do want to set up for the long game with this Registeel, and if we get chipped to half HP turn 1, that's not too good for us. That's not too great. But my opponent's going to set up the Trick Room, which is actually good for us because our Registeel has Curse, and that is the perk of running Curse. You get to be slower, or faster rather, than everything under Trick Room, so it gives you a decent Trick Room matchup. I'm going to bring up my Thundurus here just because we are Scarf locked into the Aromatic Mist, and we will move last under Trick Room, so we should probably get out of there. I'm going to set up a second Curse here because I figure I should be able to survive another Flare Blitz from the Incineroar. It'll leave me at very low HP, but it's actually fine because I have a plan with this Registeel. So my opponent's going to go for a Shadow Ball into my Registeel. It's kind of good to know that they carry Shadow Ball, and it kind of speaks for how strong Calyrex Shadow Rider is in this format, that a bunch of Pokemon are carrying Venom Dark and Ghost coverage just to obliterate Calyrex Shadow Rider. That just shows just how strong it is. Like, it's so good that you have to like really prepare for Calyrex. So my opponent's going to switch out of Incin into the Amoonguss, probably expecting Body Press, but instead I go for the Rest because we are Rest Registeel. And I kind of like foreshadowed this with the Aromatherapy on the Tapu Lele. They're probably thinking, okay, Rest, that's whatever, Weedle, like, people are in Rest Lead Talk sets all the time, like, what's so flashy about this, Weedle? We have Uproar on Thundurus. Uproar. When are you ever going to see Uproar in a competitive battle again? Never. And Uproar is such a bad move. It locks you in just like Outrage for 2 to 3 turns, and you can even choose who you target into. So like Uproar is so bad, but it actually means the opponent can't go for Spore, and they must have not known that. I would be like, wow, how could you not know that? Like Prankster with Dark types, or like Prankster not working on Dark types. But like, how are you supposed to know about Uproar? Like, they probably didn't play Gen 3, they probably don't know about Wishmur, like, they don't know what the Uproar does, but, like, yes. I got Aromatic Mist and Uproar to work in, like, actual VGC battles. Only on the WeedleTwineedle channel will you find this sort of tech. And now we're at +2 attack, the Steel Roller will just knock out the Amoonguss, and we're able to defeat Amoonguss and just shut down all the sleep spam, which is just delicious. It's such a good feeling to do that. And my opponent's going to go for Ice Beam here into my Thundurus, and we're going to be able to tank it really, really well, despite the crit. Oh, they don't crit, never mind. I think they crit me like another turn though. But yeah, Uproar, I could give this Thundurus Third Spray just to be, if I wanted to be cheeky, but Trick Room and Uproar is going to go away. And now my opponent's going to send up the Kyogre. So in comes Kyogre, and now Kyogre is faster than the Registeel, which is kind of scary. But because of Steel Roller, we're able to remove the Psychic Terrain, so we can go for the Eerie Impulse into Kyogre, reducing its special attack. And Registeel is at +2 special defense, Kyogre is at -2. And my opponent decides to go for a Calm Mind, so they're actually like a setup sweeping Kyogre, which is pretty cool to see. I was expecting like Mystic Water or Specs Water Spout, but they're actually like a setup sweeper, which is kind of cool to see, because it's just like a different approach to Kyogre team, so I kind of respect my opponent for that. So Ice Beam going back out my Thundurus, but honestly, I got to showcase Uproar. I didn't think I was going to be able to showcase Uproar in this video, I'm being honest with you. I was going to just give my Thundurus Thunder Wave and call it a day, but I am so happy I decided to run Uproar for the meme, because it actually did something. Like, I'm just so happy Uproar worked. Now I'm going to bring in my Tapu Lele. So this play right here was so risky. But the reason why I did it is because of 2 reasons. One, I expected my opponents to either Shadow Ball into Tapu Lele or click Recover, and not Shadow Ball in the Registeel. So I figured that they're not clicking Shadow Ball into Registeel. There's 0 chance. So I'm going to bring in my Calyrex Shadow Rider, even though I have all those stat boosts, just because I want to go for the Fling combo. So my Choice Scarf into my Calyrex Shadow Rider, and of course, we're gonna crit ourselves, but more importantly, we're gonna activate our weakness policy, giving us increased special attack. And the Kyogre is going to go for a Scald in the rain, and they're actually at -1 because of the Calm Mind, so it still does a good chunk of damage. We're able to tank it, and Shadow Ball is going to target into Tapu Lele and not into the Registeel slot, thankfully. And I'm also thankful that they didn't go for the Recover, because that would have been annoying to deal with. Next, I'm going to go for Protect, just because I know a +2 Expanding Force will not knock out the Kyogre, just because of the fact it has a Calm Mind special defense boost. So I go for Moonblast to reduce the health a little bit. Origin Pulse is going to come out here, but because the Kyogre isn't like choice specs, it actually doesn't like knock out Tapu Lele, which is pretty cool. And my opponent's going to try to go for Shadow Ball again into Calyrex Shadow Rider. We're able to defend ourselves. I'm surprised they didn't go for Trick Room here, to be honest with you, but maybe they thought I was just going to knock them out that turn, which is totally fair. But here, Expanding Force is going to knock out the Porygon 2, and we're going to get a nice Grimnay boost because fair and balanced Pokemon. And Kyogre is going to survive, but the Moonblast is going to do just enough damage to knock out the Kyogre from that range of health, so down goes their restricted legendary, and their last Pokemon is the handsome Incineroar. But unfortunately for Incineroar, I do carry Pollen Puff on Calyrex, and I'm at +3 special attack, and I'm pretty sure at that range of health, Incineroar is going to die. So I'm going to give Incineroar a nice little smooch on the lips and knock him out. Down goes Daddy Incineroar, and we're able to defeat the Kyogre player thanks to Registeel and Calyrex Shadow Rider. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that battle. I did kind of play greedy. In hindsight, that was very greedy, and I could have threw the game away like immediately if they clicked Shadow Ball into the Calyrex, or if they just crit me with Scald or anything really, or if they just double clicked Origin Pulse. It was a really bad play. Do note that this rental code will not be up for the rest of eternity, so if you're watching this video 3 years in the future and the rental code doesn't work, don't be surprised. Roserade, I know I didn't get to use it too much in this video, but it honestly does seem like a cool pick in Series 10. I only used it because of the Raid Shadow Legends theme, but it has, you know, Poison Boost for Xerneas and Fairy types, and, you know, Rillaboom and stuff like that. It has Grass Knot, which hits very heavy Pokemon like Kyogre, Groudon, and Stack Attack, like you saw. And the Cotton Spore speed control is actually really cool, and no one really sees that coming. They're going to expect like Sleep Powder and stuff like that, but not Cotton Spore. Niche speed control moves like that are very useful. My Urshifu has Helping Hand just to increase like Calyrex damage if need be. I didn't use Helping Hand in this video, but that's why we have Helping Hand on Urshifu. Of course, we have the Aromatherapy on the Tapu Lele for the Registeel's rest, and of course we have Uproar on Thundurus also for that reason. And I just wanted to make a bunch of gimmick moves like Uproar and Aromatic Mist and Rest, which isn't really used in VGC. I want to make those moves work, and I'm very happy I got to showcase all of those texts in this video. So if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel. And don't forget to comment on the question of the day, which is going to be, which Pokemon would you guys like to see me use in Series 10? Let me know in the comments if you have any cool texts for Series 10 you'd like to see me use, like some cool anti-meta Pokemon or some cool like restricted legendary strategies. Leave them in the comments down below and I might use them in the future because I'm trying to upload more consistently. I kind of wish that Series 10 was just like not with restricted legendaries, but I do kind of like using them while I can, and now the Calyrex Shadow Rider is out of the way, I don't have to use this Pokemon anymore. So I can actually use like more underrated threats, but I wanted to use Calyrex Shadow Rider because of Raid Shadow Legend, so like, yes, let me know in the comments which Pokemon you guys like to see me use in a future VGC Series 10 video. I do have a Discord server. If y'all want to join my community Discord server, it is free to join. A link will be in the description. I kind of would appreciate if you did join because my Discord's been kind of dead lately. Mostly my fault for being so inactive on YouTube. Definitely join my Discord if that interests you. It's a chill place to hang out, and you can talk to me and other people. And definitely follow me on Twitter if you have a Twitter and you aren't following me already. I am much more active on Twitter than I am on YouTube and Discord. And if you want to message me on Twitter, if you don't have Discord, you can message me on there. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end of the video. I love you all very, very much. And I'll check you guys in my next video.
Yes, I did that. And you would do it too for a check. And not a period.